Issues that has eroded some trust that we've seen is the issue of your email practices while you were Secretary of State. I think there's a lot of people who don't understand what your thought process was on that. So can you tell me the story of how you decided to delete 33,000 emails and how that deletion was executed?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, there was no regulation, there was nothing that did not give me the full authority to decide how I was going to communicate. Previous secretaries of state have said they did the same thing, and people across the government knew that I used one device. Maybe it was because I am not the most technically capable person and wanted to make it as easy as possible.
But you said that they did the same thing, that they used a personal server and
well,
while facing
email.
a subpoena, deleted emails from them?
You know, you're starting with so many assumptions that I've never had a subpoena. There is nothing. Again, let's take a deep breath here. Everything I did was permitted by law and regulation. I had one device. When I mailed anybody in the government, it would go into the government system. Now, I didn't have to turn over anything. I chose to turn over 55,000 pages because I wanted to go above and beyond what was expected of me, because I knew the vast majority of everything that was official already was in the State Department system. And now I think it's kind of fun. People get a real-time, behind-the-scenes look at, you know, what I was emailing about and what I was communicating about.
Wearing warm socks, as you said to John Podesta.
Exactly, and or
working a fax machine.
Yeah, a secure fax machine, which is harder to work than the regular. So yes, this is being blown up with no basis in law or in fact. That's fine. I get it. This is being, in effect, used by the Republicans in the Congress. Okay, but I want people to understand what the truth is. And the truth is, everything I did was permitted, and I went above and beyond what anybody could have expected in making sure that if the State Department didn't capture something, I made a real effort to get it to them. And I had no obligation to do any of that. So let's set the record straight. And those 55,000 pages, they will be released over the course of this year. People can, again, make their own judgment.
I know you say you were permitted. I just am trying to understand some of the thought process behind it. One former state attorney general, a Democrat, told CNN that they know of no lawyer who would advise someone, a client, facing the kind of scrutiny that you've been facing to wipe their server. I mean, what do you say to that?
Well, what I say to that is I turned over everything I was obligated to turn over, and then I moved on. People delete their personal emails, their work-related emails, whatever emails they have, on a regular basis. I turned over everything that I could imagine. Now, sitting in a meeting in the State Department and asking for iced tea may not rise to the level of negotiating peace, but I went above and beyond. That's why there's 55,000 pages of my emails. And so I think people have an interesting time behind the scenes. And all I can tell you is that the law, the regulation did not in any way stand in my way of being permitted to do what I did. And as I said, prior secretaries of state, I mean, Secretary Powell has admitted he did exactly the same thing. So I think both Secretary Powell and I are viewed as public servants. We do our very best to serve our country, and he had such a distinguished record. You know, I have served my country as well. We both did the same thing. Now, years have passed, so he clearly doesn't have anything left. I did everything I could to make sure people got anything that was related that I had.